I went to Los Angeles to do some writing and I guess create some content with a huge name. So I'm there at this mansion and I'm looking at the quality of life that's being lived, and it's like, oh, this is the top of the mountain for like this world. Like, this is not appetizing.
He's James Collins.
He is Alec Cranston, and this is the Matter of Facts podcast. The Matter of Facts podcast brings you the unsung heroes, the unsung stories, news and happenings from across our wonderful city that you maybe thought happened but didn't quite know the truth behind.
And get you all in the loop on what's going on, what's to come, and what can we be prepared for. Welcome to Matter of Facts. I'm here, and I'm going to say it again. I'm going to say it. I'm here with my esteemed co-host, Mr. James Collins, in the studio, the Podstarter studio. We are super excited to be here today.
Sorry, for context, Alec just spilled his water.
I just spilled some water. We are videotaping, so that'll get thrown in somewhere, maybe in like a reel or something, and things are getting wet in here. We're thrilled to be here, back in the studio with a great guest coming in today. We're super excited to talk to them. James, how are you doing, man?
Oh, I'm doing well, but it's getting cold.
It is starting to get cold. It was really hot for a while, extremely humid. It was like 28, 29 degrees, felt like 35 with the wind chill, and it was insane.
There's the green. I have a sweater that's been hung up since the end of May on a door handle in my upstairs hallway at home, right? And I've walked past this in my naked jogs around the house or my clothed jogs around the house. Mm-hmm. And I've been like, yeah, sucker, I'm going to wear you. Yeah, you're a bastard. I can't wait. Like, I'm so pleased I don't have to wear you right now. You're never going to be worn ever again. I put it on last night.
Yeah, it's
so it was like turning point. And you know the other thing I realized last night? I was like, holy crap. Like, real adulting here. I've not ordered 2 cords of wood. Normally my wood gets delivered in May. I love it when my wood gets delivered, and I haven't ordered my wood this year, and I was like, holy crap, like I'm going to probably be lighting my wood stove in the next 6 weeks. So got to get your wood. Always make sure you get your wood.
I'm glad you got your wood situation up. That's really good. I know you were having a hard time getting it for a while.
Would you like me to text you when I get my wood?
Yeah, send me a picture.
All right, came quick. I time to get my wood. All right, let's do Insane as the Crane.
Insane.
Insane is the crane. Insane is the crane, kinda insane like the crane.
So Insane as the Crane this month actually leans a little bit into what we just discussed with the summer. We're going to talk about the 2025 Nova Scotia Woods ban, which has brought the COVIDs out in people. It's brought the crazies literally out of the woods. We're going back to August the 5th here when the province decided that travel and activities in wooded areas will be banned province-wide. The goal is, I believe, until October 15th, which is the actual end of wildfire season. It means no hanking, what? No camping or hiking. No hanking or wanking in the woods. That's or described. Hiking or camping.
Mr. Houston was like, we must make sure that is in and described.
You cannot hank in the woods. So no hiking or camping outside of campgrounds, no fishing or use of vehicles like ATVs in the woods, public or private, unless you are the landowner, and even then you can't host people. So this has been done for good reason. There's been persistent hot, bone-dry conditions. Of course, they've elevated the wildfire risk. We've just had the Susie's Lake wildfire. There's the wildfire, as we're recording this, Long Lake fire is out of control and raging. And the issue we have here, like if you go out west, most wildfires are caused by dry lightning strikes. Unfortunately, here in Nova Scotia, most are caused by humans. So the idea was that limiting the presence of humans in the woods was going to directly mitigate the risk. The main issue you have, well, let me backtrack and say that there was a $25,000 fine, or is a $25,000 fine.
I see they dished out a lot already.
Yeah, I actually put a Freedom of Information request in January of this year because I was curious, because we go to a lot of illegal burns on the fire truck and we go to a lot of alarm calls and a lot of outside fire calls. And I was curious how many fines were handed out. So there were 14 fines given in all of 2025, according to the Freedom of Information request I put in with DNR.
For burn bans.
Yeah, which was the Department of Natural Resources and Renewables. So they're the people that issue the fines, not the police, not the fire department. They can write the tickets, but DNR ultimately assess the fine. We've beat that number already this year, so I think it's working. But the main issue I've got with this, I fully support the woods ban. Having been to the Susie's Lake wildfire, those things suck. And they take so long to deal with. So I'm very much in favor.
Yeah.
The issue I've got is the crazy people who've suddenly awoken from the pandemic.
Oh, they're suddenly all hikers and woodsmen and woodswomen and woods people. Like it's just crazy.
None of them have been in the woods
No,
for years.
they're like, well, now it's being taken away from me. Then I must go in the woods, but I can't. I'm also, and I know people are divided with the whole thing. I'm also in favor of the ban. I think there are other things to do. Go to the pool.
Hanking.
Hanking, getting wood.
Getting
That's what
wood.
you've been doing. Go to the beach. Go to the pool. Go for a walk downtown. Like there's more things to do. You don't have to go in the woods. This is a hopefully a temporary solution for a long-term fix. Hopefully, like this is a temporary solution. Hopefully for a long-term fix, and it would be impossible. Like it's like what's the alternative then? Because like the people that are freaking out about it, because there's no way you could ever screen people before going into the woods, right? Is there someone at every entry point of every woods there is waiting there and be like, all right, we're going to run an IQ test on you to make sure that you're not going to burn the place down here, or we're going to ask you these questions, we're going to look at your whole history. No, the solution here is everyone just stay out, all right? Because we can't trust all of you, which I get, because there's some dummies out there that have done some stupid stuff that have started some unnecessary fires. I think of when I grew up, the big fire story when I was a kid was the Herring Cove fires. You know that one, Connor? Yeah, which I believe started right around the Spryfield rink, if I'm correct. I think it was around that area. I think it was people being stupid. And, I mean, I don't know. I forget what time of year that was, but remember that was a big thing, and they were calling in. All the stations had to come together, and it was a wild situation. So that was a big thing for me as a kid. So that spooked me right away. And so I'm in favor of anything that the DNR and the government believe. I shouldn't say. I mean, that's a blanket statement.
You believe everything the government
they
gives
say
you.
should be done. I'm saying for this particular scenario, I don't disagree with the burn ban. I don't hike. I don't go in the woods. My brother's a little bummed, which I get. He hikes a lot and does all that stuff. He's a very outdoorsy guy, but he's also he kayaks a lot. So now he just does that more, and he just does other things until the winter comes and he can go cross country skiing.
Stay out of the goddamn woods. I mean, yes,
out the
and this is and I appreciate your input. Is why I kind of pose this. What I will say is I disagree with the people saying I want to go into the woods. Well, going into the woods means that you're willing to lose the very thing that we are trying to protect. So there's a phrase that I was taught once, which is short-term solutions create long-term problems. Short-term problems create long-term solutions, right? This is a short-term problem right now. Can't go in the woods. The long-term solution is we preserve the woods. Mm-hmm. The short-term solution is, well, go into the woods and try not to start fires. And then we blow out the ecosystem for the next 2 decades. We disturb the wildlife. We destroy the trails that we love. So my point to these people who still want to go into the woods is, if you love the woods so much, aren't you willing to stay out of them for a little bit to protect the very thing that you say you love so much? If you love the woods that much, you'd stay out of them, right? Anyway, I don't know if they're going to lift the woods ban early. The weather's changing. Yeah. We've got more rain. Temperatures are getting cooler. You know, it doesn't have a massive effect on wildfires. A lot of people don't understand. It can still be very wet, and you can have a wildfire start. Yeah. A little bit of rain does nothing, ultimately, in the grand scheme of things. But I think we should just respect this. There was that story that came out about I'm not going to say his name, a former PPC candidate. You probably saw this, right? Who broke the ban. He went to the DNR headquarters, and in front of the officers, he told them he was going in the woods. He said he was deliberately going in the woods so he would get the fine. He filmed the whole thing like a prick, and he was assessed the fine with tax and some surcharge. It came to $28,900, which he is trying to challenge in court right now. So at the time of this publishing, we don't really know what the outcome of that is. But just stay out the woods, people. Come on.
Absolutely.
So that was both a rant and insane as the crane.
That's a good one. It's very prevalent right now, and everyone's talking about it.
If you're listening to this podcast in the woods, get the heck out.
Get out of the woods. Come on.
And get into the harbor of lies.
Wow, that is a perfect segue into this week's Harbor of Lies, which is my turn. And I'm super excited to be telling you this story, which is 100% true and very cool. So here we go. Here's my story.
Game begin.
So during World War II, when we were known for we were being one of the busiest naval ports, we actually also played a secret role in espionage training. Spies. It was
Harbor of Spies.
Harbor, man, like, god dang it.
Sorry.
I have that in there.
You do have it in there?
I do, yeah. It's a punchline. It's the punchline. All right, whatever. It's fine. So anyways, the infamous Camp X, which originated in Ontario, Whitby, Ontario, which is essentially a spy school. So we served as a hidden training ground where young recruits were quietly screened and taught the basics of espionage, like explosives, sabotage, lockpicking, coded communications before they would head overseas to the war. They were typically disguised as ordinary sailors or soldiers, and they would prepare for many different missions, such as blowing up bridges, disrupting Germany supply lines, and operating behind enemy lines occupied in Europe. The program is so secret that locals never suspected, and the government didn't acknowledge it for decades. Only later did declassified records confirm that alongside convoys and naval ships, Halifax was quietly producing spies, making it not just a port city, but a city of spies, harbor of spies. So I took out harbor of spies because you took that from me. That's okay. So recruits were told to blend into the city as sailors, dock workers, or even bartenders while practicing surveillance as well. The instructors were a mix of British SOE officers and Canadian Navy intelligence staff. Locals nicknamed them the professors because they actually posed as Dalhousie lecturers, which is pretty cool. The nickname they had for it here, so Camp X was in Whitby, Ontario for World War II. Here they nicknamed it Camp H because of Halifax. And what else do we have? I got some cool facts about this friggin' thing. That was a really cool story. About around 400 agents are said to have passed through between 1942 and 1944. And then it was all declassified in 1987, although most records were destroyed in the 60s, but 87 is when it was declassified. And of course, people now claim they can see the ghosts of these people and whatever. Of course they do. What else do I got? So yeah, Camp X originated in Whitby, Ontario. The Halifax camp actually specifically looked at naval sabotage and underwater demolitions, including disabling U-boats and enemy ships, but they also trained them on all the other regular espionage stuff. And the location of this was hidden beneath warehouses on the Halifax waterfront that weren't being used too often, with secret tunnels that are leading toward, not so secret anymore, but the tunnels that are under Citadel Hill leading to the harbor.
Okay.
So, yeah, I thought it was really cool.
Okay. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm torn because this is a really, really good story.
Yeah.
Camp H throws me a little bit because I don't think the military would assign the first letter of the origin city to the name, just because they want you to be so many steps removed from all these things. So Camp H, was it known publicly as Camp H?
It was the code name. I don't think it wasn't known publicly. They had two names for it, and they're both, I agree with you, they're both kind of given away where it is. One was Camp H, and then sometimes it was Citadel Annex, but I think these were names that were kind of given to it from what I gather from reading this, after it was declassified.
Okay, good. Yeah, because it just seems odd that they would, it's like if I'm trying to hide something in a city.
It was in British security coordinating files that they saw these names and these code names.
I think this is a very, very plausible story because you've also, though, got the benefit of the shroud of the fact that this is about espionage. So anything really specific I ask, you can just say, well, that was never really released. So that is a strike against you. I'm leaning towards this being true, but I just want to try to rationalize it a little bit more. What did the people that became the spies go on to do? I'm imagining they were dispersed over to Europe and over to anywhere where they felt there was intelligence.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, so they were trained here before being moved. They were either trained here as a screening point, moved to the main Camp X in Whitney, Ontario.
Okay.
Or they would go direct. They would either go from there to here to Whitby over to Europe, or directly from here to Europe.
Okay. Do you have any personal connection to any of these?
No.
Not got a great-grandfather had a monkey on a ship?
The monkey one. I asked my dad, and he said, as far as he knows, nothing.
So this isn't more about the story. This is more about the fact that I know you fairly well, and your delivery and your body language has been very confident. And I definitely could see things like this happening in the Second World War. And, Halifax being one of the only major Navy naval bases and ports, or naval ports, not base ports here in Canada, tends to suggest that being close to Europe, we would have that responsibility. So they would want to have a camp in Whitby, but then they'd want to bring people to a naval port probably for some reason. Okay, I am going to say that this story is true, and I'm very, very, very confident that I'm right.
Okay.
So give me some suspense.
Connor, what do you think?
Are
you going to play devil's advocate and go the other side, or what do you think?
My usual role is to play devil's advocate and choose the other side, but I actually think I'm going to fall in line with James this time. Halifax is such a deeply old city, and it has such a colonial history where things like this happen all the time. The British would send pirates here during the Golden Age to be hung.
Right. Yeah, true.
Right? So it's almost not bizarre for me to hear about this fantastic story coming from quiet, sleepy old Halifax, because this sort of stuff appears to have happened all the time throughout our history. So I'm going to lock in true. I want it to be true. I actually need it to be true.
You need it to be true.
This sounds really cool.
It is a very, very, very cool story. Todd loved it. I loved it. I was going to send it to my brother, but he doesn't get into this stuff as much as we do.
But he can't read.
He can't read. Jenna just wanted me to go to bed last night and stop reading into this.
I bet she did.
I will now be watching World War II documentaries after telling this story, so I can see stuff that actually happened, because this did not happen. This exists in the harbor.
Oh, no.
This exists in the harbor of lies. And I got to tell you something funny about this one. I got screwed over by, obviously we use ChatGPT to help cook some stuff, but ChatGPT helped me cook. But ChatGPT effed with me originally and told me the story to be true. And then I asked for more details, and they started giving me all this whack info. I was like, that doesn't seem true. They're like, yeah, it's not a real story. It's a made up one. And I was like, so it is fake.
So you wanted to do a true story?
I wanted it to be true. I thought this was true originally.
So it sounds like this is the first time on the show that all three of us have been hoodwinked, basically.
Yeah.
You by ChatGPT, and then us by you.
ChatGPT got me. I gotta go back.
And all three of us wish so badly that it were real.
It's on my iPad. I'm
Wow.
gonna take a screenshot and I'll show it next time. But you can actually see where it tells me the story, and it literally says this is a cool thing that happened in Halifax, and then later it goes, well, no, it's not actually true. It's as if ChatGPT, because I've used ChatGPT before for Harbor of Lies. It's as if it assumed I was asking for a lied story. So technology's starting to get a little scary.
ChatGPT 3 for 3 on this one.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, that's my Harbor of Lies, and I am winning today. This is a great day for me.
He has emerged victorious. We should probably go to something that is true now, which is our guest, who has just arrived in. They're always just arriving in the studio right as we're finishing Harbor of Lies.
Oh, let's go grab them.
Come in.
All right, we are here with our special guest today, Max Taylor. Max, thanks for coming in the studio today.
Thanks for having me, man.
Great to have you in. Max has a slew of things on his resume. He's known on TikTok and Instagram as a content creator. He's traveled around the world, I would say, for doing that as well. He owns his own media company. We will talk about that.
Oh.
Yeah, you do.
That's what I've heard.
He just remembered. Oh,
He
yes,
just remembered.
that's another thing I do.
Yeah, he's made appearances on film and TV, which I know that as well. And we're going to dive right in. And there's a little fun fact about him. He ran for mayor, and we're going to dive into that at some point as well.
Very
today,
interested
too.
in that
That was
part of your life.
James was very interested in that one.
Okay, right on, man.
So Max, let's get right into it.
Let's dive in, brother.
I will dive right in. So one of the things I would say you're known for, and your face pops up all the time on my feed for social media videos, creator influence type thing. What kind of got you into that? How did that start, and when did that start, and how's that kind of going?
Well, the honest to God truth is, before TikTok was like this place where you could see anything. You could see, the science videos now, there's comedy videos, there's the dancing people. There was a time when it was just people dancing, pretty much, when it transitioned from Musical.ly into TikTok. And my last year at university, we would kind of just, for lack of a better word, just make fun of it. We would just post little videos of us dancing to trends and then delete them. So then when COVID happened, we just kept doing that. And then I started doing some skits to make my friends in Montreal, laugh, basically, because we were separated.
Hang on, people in Quebec have a sense of humor?
Well, yeah, it's new. It's new.
You probably developed it.
Well, they didn't before.
Okay,
But
okay.
yeah, I think we slowly gave it to them. And then from that, some of them started to go, they started to do well.
Yeah.
And then I got really lucky right away because I had some, I guess, bigger names in the online space kind of co-sign at the start, and it just became easier because I could start writing for other people, and then you just build this little community, and it was a lot of fun. So that's how it started.
It's wild because so I don't use TikTok. In fact, I have downloaded it a few times and I've had to get rid of it because I'm bad enough for I won't call it doom scrolling on Instagram, but just jumping from, I won't talk about what other videos contain, but just like funny, dumb shit on Instagram all the time. I found TikTok very, very addictive. But, when I look at this casual world of it looks like people just ad hoc uploading stuff, like it's a real business, right? And to the creators, whereas we may think that these ideas just come to mind and you record them and then they get pushed out there, you're planning this the same way that I'm sure people are planning TV shows. Is there a real business and a science and a grind behind it?
Yeah,
behind the sort of casual thing that the viewer sees?
Totally. I think nowadays I've definitely transitioned to more behind the scenes stuff because I just don't know. It just stopped interesting me or being interesting to me recently, I guess the last 2 years, to always be posting things. So now I prefer the behind the scenes doing scripts for other people and stuff, which is a weird job. But anyway, a lot goes into it. Like when I was first posting, it was 2 videos a day. You have to do it at the same times every day, 12 and 4 o'clock when I was first making it. And you just drive around for hours every day trying to figure out what you're doing the next day. And I mean, for some people, they can keep that up and there's a ton of longevity to it. For me, I couldn't keep it up. I was thinking because then you start posting things that you're not interested in. And when you stop having fun, especially when you're doing something so lighthearted, people notice when you stop having fun, and then you notice it, and then you have to find a way to transition out. Some people get caught in that loop, and they.
Well, yeah, I mean, you see it all the time. You see just like hundreds and hundreds of posts that aren't even really going anywhere from some people. Maybe they just love to do it, or they're just trying and trying and trying. At what point did you find that it actually started to turn into something? It turned into, an opportunity. I don't know the ins and outs of monetization with content creation in Canada. I mean, I read about it online a little bit, but I don't know enough about it. At what point did you say it kind of turned into, okay, people are reaching out to me, and you've done some ad work as well. At what point did that kind of hit, and how do you mold that into your regular content creation, the stuff that you want to make versus what other companies might want you to make?
The molding of it's interesting. I mean, like when it comes to Canada, maybe it's changed now. I haven't really looked into it that much, but when I was doing it, you couldn't get paid for views. I mean, in the States you could, but you couldn't get paid for views in Canada. So for me, it was kind of, it'd be really nice to have a video that had 10 million views, but it wouldn't really move the needle if I wanted to pay rent that much.
Right.
So you'd have to do these partnerships. But the problem with some of the bigger brands is they dictate so much what you can post for them. And I won't say which ones, but they're really meticulous. So like you see a lot of big companies, they hire creators to make ads for them. But the problem is it doesn't matter. Like you could hire anybody to do anything. You shouldn't do that, because they're writing the ads anyway and it doesn't meet their audience's organic feed, right? So like let's say, for example, you have a guy who makes science videos and then A&W hires them and all of a sudden they're doing a food review. It's like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, you have to, some companies let you kind of, mix things in really smoothly.
Like mix your content in
with what they want, but some companies write it for you and that's really tough. Yeah, and some brands are really good at just letting you off the leash and just saying, you know what, as long as you don't say anything bad about our company, you show the service or the product, do whatever you want. That is the best partnership to have. So if you're a brand, do that, because there's no point in hiring a specific person if you're not going to let them do what people came to watch.
So I look at the young people in my life. A lot of their confidence socially is and their worth is tied to views.
Yeah,
so there's a certain young person in my life, child, who once showed a video, and the video was funny. And he said to me, well, I don't know, it only had 15 likes. And I said, that's a really good video, right? And tying it to the number of likes you've had isn't any reflection on sort of who you are. But I could tell for him it was. A lot of the young people I know are sort of trying to become TikTok stars. Like, cut this down for us. How hard is it? Are they trying to become a Top Gun fighter pilot here? And for those, I'm assuming it's like a lot of other industries, actually very much like our industry as well, where the majority of people just make regular money, and there's a small number at the top who make big bucks.
Yeah.
So like these kids that all want to become TikTok stars, would you say keep creating for you and your friends, not creating for a grander vision?
Well, that's it. Just create for you and your friends, because then you won't get bored, honestly. Right. And when you do get bored, that's when it becomes so monotonous. Even if you go back to my page, you can see a point where I'm having a blast and I have all my buddies around and it's an excuse to hang out with them, right? Yeah. Because like there comes a point where, you're at a high school, you're at a university where it's like, what's the excuse to hang out with these guys? Like if I'm not going out, like how do I naturally hang out with people during the day without it being like awkward to say, hey, do you want to just come over and sit next to me? Like, you know what I mean? So this is an excuse to hang out with people that you love. And then there's a point in the middle of my page, and you can even just see a ton of people's journeys where this happens, where you can see I'm just not having fun. I'm not enjoying it. And then from there, the views dwindle. And then they pick back up now that I'm having fun again. But if you're not having fun, you shouldn't care about the views. I mean, honestly, like sometimes you'll make the best video of all time. I've seen some amazing videos that have like 1,000 views, and it's shocking. And then I see some guy holding up a can of peanut butter, and he's just, his surroundings are so hideous. And like everything around him is so bizarre with the lowest effort that'll get 10 million views. So effort doesn't always correlate into views, but if you're having fun, it doesn't matter.
It's just luck of the draw sometimes.
It's luck of the draw a lot of the time, but I wish you could tell people like, don't care about the views because like just
because
enjoy
it must be,
yourself.
yeah, because if you know, it would be like, I don't want to say demoralizing, but it'd be hard to build confidence if like your video after video and you're getting 10 likes, 15 likes, and you're like, what the hell? Nobody, like no one's, what's the word I'm looking for? Like validating that my shit is good, right? So
it's dumb. And I mean, honestly, like it comes to a certain point where views equal currency. I think when you're growing up now, like luckily we didn't really have that. We just missed the cutoff where that was happening. Like, we got Snapchat in what, like grade 8, 9?
I've been junior high,
Yeah, imagine having that when you're like 7 years old, bro. That would suck.
Whoa.
Man.
Yeah, that would be terrible. So,
But let's be honest here as well. There is big money to be made for the few that make it. Are we right to assume that?
That is true, yes.
So actually, let me get even more personal here.
Yeah.
This is as far as we'll take it. You're making a good income off this.
No, and now the income I make off it is not from the videos themselves that I make. It's for what I write and create for other people behind the scenes.
Okay,
and brands.
interesting.
So now
and good for you,
and
and it's great that you have bucked that trend and those odds and taken it to that level.
So that's a good segue, and I want to talk about the writing a bit. So, like, at what point did you, as you mentioned that you're having fun, you're making skits and content that you wanted to make, and then you got to a point where you want to be more behind the scenes. What was kind of that turning point? You want to do that, and as far as the writing goes, you mentioned you do it for some brands, and some creators. Are you doing that as like a ghostwriter, or are they giving you credit?
More so, yeah. Like you do it more as a ghostwriter. And ghostwriting in the music world and ghostwriting in the online creating world is much different. Like there's still NDAs in place and things like that, but it's like fast food ghostwriting almost. Like you give them a sheet that's 50 different ideas and they pick from that to kind of amalgamate. So the reason I mostly transitioned into over the writing side and the real behind the scenes side is when I went to Los Angeles to do some writing and I guess create some content with a huge name. You know who this is.
I know, you told me this.
Yeah. And that was like the peak of like, you make money like this person, like you've really made it. So I'm there at this mansion and I'm looking at the quality of life that's being lived. And it's like, oh, this is the top of the mountain for like this world. Like this is not appetizing to me. Like I'm not saying that he's not happy, but it just didn't seem desirable at all. You know, it would just seem like this is a person who couldn't really leave their house because they're worried about people being mean to them because they're so locked in what the comment sections are saying.
Yeah.
And the people who come in and out of the house don't even say hi to them. They come, they sit on his couch, they make some videos on their phone, like showcasing his surroundings and what he's bought in his house, and then they leave without really saying hi to this person at all. So they just use each other, and it's just really, it's gross. It was super gross. So after that, I said, well, why am I going to keep putting all this effort into making videos if the top of the mountain would look like this? I'm not interested in that. Like, no matter how much money there is.
Good self-awareness, though. Like, good for you.
Yeah, because some people would walk into that and be like, oh, I want this. This is the life. I need this. But I remember when you told me that story, which I couldn't even believe it when you first told me the story.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's 100% true is wild. But
and that just sounds like the sort of whitewash podcast story we can tell, too. I'm sure there's other layers to that onion which we won't go into.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's, like you said, the self-awareness to have in that situation, to know that even at the top, it's like they're almost like burnt out and they just become robots to what they have to do.
Totally, absolutely. And then it really is tough to watch as well, because maybe there is a happiness within that. Like someone walked in the house, one of the friends of them one day, and they had made $2 million that day. And they went out, they bought a Lamborghini like it was nothing. They come back to the house and they sit on their phone for 4 hours and they don't say a word to anybody else in the house. And I'm thinking, what is this? Like, what the hell is going on here? Fucking weirdos, man.
It sounds all good. Like
they were nice enough.
No, even when you're saying that. I mean, people glamorize all this, and it sounds amazing until you actually get into it and you realize that
Yeah.
being at that level might not necessarily mean you've made it. You're just
No. Yeah, there's some people that really do have a blast with it, but typically what happens is you get really big, and then you find a way to get on Snapchat, and then Snapchat pays you a couple $1 million a month, and you can just post whatever, and then you stop caring as much. So that is really the end of that goal. So it stops becoming creative endeavor
Snapchat's
at the
a big
end.
one.
Snapchat is how a lot of these people make their money. Like a lot of the people that you knew growing up from Vine and such.
Yeah.
They're on
Vine,
Snapchat now.
Gosh, remember that old relic?
Oh yeah, and a lot of people who were on Vine, they'll just go right to Snapchat now, and they make millions off Snapchat, but they don't need to put any effort in. So that's the end of that. But it's almost like, well, if money was the final goal, like that's great for these people, but based off the quality of life you see them living, it's like, why was money the final goal?
Yeah.
Like, did you not have fun coming up to this point? Like, why would you just abandon it?
Yeah.
But they get burnt out. Everybody gets burnt out, I guess, in that world.
I'm going to ask you a question. We're going to pivot here slightly before we get onto the Merrill stuff, which I think is super interesting.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit, and that's the reason you guys saw me on my phone. I wasn't ignoring you. I was just pulling something up.
No, I don't blame you, man.
About the more hateful side of the audience. So this is a really loose example, but my fire truck for my crew is Halifax's Pride truck, which you see rolling around. They wrapped this truck for the Pride Parade, but it's an in-service truck the other 364 days of the year, and it's the truck that my crew, we're very proud of it. It's a good-looking truck. We have a social media account for our station, and we post a lot of things the truck happens to be in. We started getting what do you call a retweet on Instagram? Shared?
Repost?
Yeah, like repost. Yeah.
He's an almost 40-year-old talking about
I think
social
it's
media.
relatively new, the repost.
Repost?
Yeah.
That is a
By
new
a
thing.
bunch of right-wing, very homophobic accounts in the US. So we had one video that I just looked now, we're like 160,000 views on it. Dozens and dozens of comments. I've just pulled a random one up. So we save these, we delete them, but we save
What
them.
is
We
that?
joke it's going to be an eventual coffee table book.
Yeah.
This was, I'd rather let it burn than get sprayed by a rainbow truck.
Oh my.
Does that say Max Taylor?
Max Taylor, that was the guy. And we get a lot of posts around the thing of, if I'm having a heart attack and this truck shows to my house, let me die.
Yeah.
We get loads of those. Lots of those things. People think they're original, but the general gist is I would rather my house burn to death than have your truck come to my street. We delete them. We're shocked at the number of people who have the time and the energy in their day to go and make these sort of remarks. You've experienced that, I'm sure. Do you have any ideas or any insight into the trolling side of things?
Yeah.
So for us, what compels people every time we post to flood a fire department's Instagram with homophobic comments? Why?
There's something wrong with them, honestly. I mean,
Okay.
like, yeah, they're fucking idiots. Like, let's be honest. Like, they have like 7 brain cells. But at the same time, it's like, if their whole community and their whole life, they were taught that thing, now they have some sort of an outlet to put it. And that's, that's what they do for fun. Like, that's their pastime. They go through and they look at things that make them angry. But I mean, a lot of that is the algorithm's fault. Like, they're taught that what they're saying from the algorithm is correct. Like, they'll see things that back up their opinion no matter what. They'll never see the other side of it. So when they see something like that pop up, in their minds, they're thinking, oh, everything else I've seen today is against this. Like, obviously, I'm going to speak out because everyone's going to agree with me. But when you see the hate comments like that and the really mean stuff that it's,
We
awful.
laugh.
You laugh,
So
of
what
course.
we do, we delete them, but we screenshot them. We keep them. Again, we
course.
joke about the eventual
Yeah.
coffee table book of hate that we're going to create.
You have to do your best to just ignore it, delete it, never respond to it because that's exactly what they want.
Yeah.
They're just weirdos. They're freaks. You're a total freak if you comment that. You're just bizarre. Like, imagine, and you click their profiles and you see them and their daughter, little Susie's next to them. They're at Disneyland. It's like, you just commented like
crazy shit.
that craziest shit I've ever seen in my life. I go to your Instagram and there's your whole family.
Or the
There's you
employer in the
Yes, the
in the
employer's
byline.
in
You're like,
there,
oh my
too.
god.
It's like insane. Like, you'll see someone comment the most insane thing you've ever read, the most racist, homophobic thing. You click their profile and it's like, senior partner at. And you're like, what the fuck, man? Like, what
You're
do you
going to
want
go
do?
to a Coldplay concert with your CFO, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly. But people are insane. But it's coming to a point now where people think everybody else agrees with them because that's all they see. Like.
It's crazy what people will do when they think they have that protection too of being
Yeah.
behind the screen, obviously, and just thinking, oh, I can type whatever I want, no repercussions. when they're I mean, sometimes they do get screwed over, right? You never
This is a good segue to politics, actually. Talking.
Yeah, I think that's what I was trying to do.
Yeah,
that's what I was trying to
sorry.
do.
Yeah, I think it's super fascinating. And, the first question I had for you was, and you can tell me if I'm wrong here, is I'm assuming this wasn't with the intent of winning, but more with the intent of raising awareness and sort of getting maybe tell us about what the, I know apathy among young people is something I'm very passionate about. I'm assuming that was your intent, was to try to change that as opposed to be sat in City Hall.
Totally, yeah. I think it was at a time where I was making a lot of videos online that were egregiously silly, which is fun. I mean, like, they're all pretty harmless. Like, generally the rule and the stuff I would make was always just don't make fun of anybody. Always have the joke be on you, and you're pretty much safe, like, for any brand deals, everything. It's also just nicer to watch stuff like that. Yeah. But when Chris Paul came on TV, I think he was with the Thunder, he was talking about, like, getting his whole team registered to vote. And I was like, oh, that would be interesting. So I looked it up, and I was like, oh my God, anybody can run? And I was calling my friends, like, anybody can run? Like, it doesn't cost you anything? They're like, yeah. And I went, how's nobody just ran? But anyway, so then I was like, okay, if I do a voting campaign, like, vote for me or against me, as long as you vote, it's fine. In fact, it was the highest youth voter turnout, I think, in the past 100 years at least.
Wow.
Looked up. It was 200,000 more registered voters in the election before, which is true. Not for me, but they showed up and voted, which was the goal. But I think purposely it kind of left it for the last month of the election, so it was like a real voting campaign, as opposed to like having any real threat of winning, which honestly the mayoral position is really ceremonial. It has the same power as the district councilor. You do nothing. You really don't do anything. You get paid higher than a ton of other mayors in the country, but you don't do anything. So they were running for a year, so it was never a threat of me winning. It was really just a campaign of just getting people out to vote. And I mean, honestly, it was pretty successful in that regard.
What was it like doing, like, when because you did a few debates, right, as part of it?
Yeah.
Like, did you find that, and obviously, like, you went for it. Like, it wasn't like just one big bit. Like, you wanted to give it your best shot. I assume.
Totally. Yeah, I did.
Did you find that people treated it that way? Like, did the other candidates besides the cat treat it that way during the process?
Well, it was interesting because up until the first debate that was on TV, I was just some prick from TikTok running for mayor to try and grow his following. Truth is, I didn't even post on TikTok about it because it was a local election. All the people who followed me on TikTok or Instagram really were from the States. Like, I barely posted about it because it wouldn't help move the needle. No. Now, going back, I wish my pride hadn't gone the way. If it would help get the vote out more, I would have done it. But my pride is like, no, I want people to know this is not about that. I'm a fucking idiot. Like, you obviously want people to vote. Go do any avenue to make that happen. But anyway. So until the debate, people were really mean about the whole thing. Debate happens, people start to change their tune, start to get along with the message. Because of, I think it was one answer that changed the tune, which was they had asked about the building of a CFL stadium, and the other two guys were going at it. And then I said, well, I'm not going to talk about a CFL stadium. There's people can't afford to, put food on the table. Oh. And that was true. And the other half of that was, we're building a fucking CFL stadium? So that was the other half.
Good deflection. That was good.
But honestly, it was the truth. They're arguing about
for
such terrible things, which is a ton of municipal politics too. Like, talk about what you can change and talk about things that matter. When you're in it, you realize, wow, none of what's happening here is going to take place. None of this change is actually going to be implemented. And nobody's talking about the things that matter. I mean, there's a certain person who I would always say, just blank out his name, because he's never said anything really. I mean, maybe every now and then he's like, this is an issue that we have to go after. It's always, look at how great blah, blah, blah is. Oh, we're really making this effort. Let's take a picture here. It's like, bro, like, if you're guaranteed to win, you've already done so, like, you've been in this position for so long. Try your best to make any sort of difference. Like, this is the cushiest job in the world. Do your best to do any sort of difference. Just stop being a spokesperson, which I get the position really is a spokesperson, but use it to say something that's important. And most people don't. Most people want job security in that position, which is tough, but it is what it is,
Yeah, it's hard with a campaign to stand back and listen to the people telling you what they're going to do. My sort of gauge for it has always been, who's a good advocate for the city? Yeah. Who's a good mayor that other people in Canada will know when they're on these very well-funded business mission trips internationally, will do some good for us. Yeah. But I definitely don't look at a manifesto or a campaign promise is a checklist. Oh, they're going to do these things if we put them in power. We know that 10% of it will be done.
Yeah,
like
if that even.
this is the irony is we live in a democracy which allows us to elect people fairly, but then the democracy itself gets in the way of them doing what they said they were going to do.
Exactly.
So, for you, did the other candidates take you seriously? Like, did they give you a chance, or was there always that thing of he's a social media star trying to step on our politics?
It was really interesting because at the time I was just like, I was 22, so I know the other the campaign teams of the other candidates were basically saying to them like, you can't be mean because you're going to look like shit if you're mean to this guy because all he's trying to do is get the vote out.
Yeah.
So I kind of caught on to that later on. They're like, oh, they're not going to be mean to me like in front of the camera. One of them was super nice to me behind the scenes. The other one, I respect the other one. However, I mean, as a man, he's probably a super nice guy. In fact, I would definitely hang out with him. But as a candidate, my God, just brutal, dude. I mean, there was a moment where I'm not going to say which one it was. I mean, there's only two. So
I'm kind of leaning in. I know what you're saying without you.
There was a moment where I was asked to go to breakfast, and I was like, this is great. Like, I know I'm not going to win, so being able to talk to another candidate who could win about like some things that are important, like that's really interesting. Like maybe I've gotten a lot of DMs about things that have to change in the city and whatnot, and like why not talk to somebody who could win and make those influences? So I'm sitting down, I got my little notes ready to talk about the issues that matter. We're at a breakfast place, okay? So I sit down with this person at the breakfast place, which he invited me to. Like, come get breakfast. Great. I sit down, the waitress comes over. She goes, oh, what do you guys want? And I'm like, oh, like, you know what? Like, we're getting a breakfast. So I'll just get like a meat lover's skillet. This man looks at the waitress. I swear, like, he looked after I just ordered. He goes, a black coffee and one piece of toast. I'm looking at him like, are you fucking, I just ordered a goddamn meat lover. You're just going to watch me eat, you maniac? My face, I'm trying to stop. It was like a weird power play. Nice enough for him to ask me to breakfast. Maybe in hindsight, if I could replay that moment, it would be more, oh, actually, this was just a normal thing. But in the moment, I was like, what the hell?
We get that in our world where you meet people and you meet them for lunch and then they come around for drink. Yeah, so this was it. So they come around, they're like, what can I get you guys to drink? And they're like, oh, have whatever you want. You're like, oh, sure. Let's keep it easy. I have a pint and divider. I have 9 Locks Dirty Blonde. Yeah. And then cool. And then they turn to the other person and they go, yeah, well, I disagree with lunchtime drinking, so I'll just have water for me, keep it healthy. And I'm like, great, so you're going to sit here and watch me drink and get slightly buzzed when it's a weird power play.
The bill, then you feel kind of weird. Like if you knew they're taking you to lunch too, they said, oh, let me take you to lunch. Totally. Yeah, no problem. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. This guy's bill was $3. I'm thinking, what the hell? Why would I get all this?
At least you had some trust for how we treat the city budget, maybe.
Yeah,
with a $3 breakfast.
I mean, to be fair, delicious. I mean,
you enjoyed it.
Skillet. What a skillet. My
Meat
God.
Did you want to plug the venue?
Yeah, it was, it's closed down now. It was Smitty's.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, if you ever get a chance to go to any of the Smitty's locations.
Just meat lovers.
Gotta go to New Brunswick, probably.
It's kind of a wild choice. But
you should get Smitty's to sponsor the pod, man.
Over it.
Let them know. Play this clip for Smitty's. I don't know how much of a budget they would have.
We can just bring all the
considering they're closing, they're probably
closing all their locations.
No, thank you.
Well, that's interesting. And look, I think good on you for going through that journey because here's the irony: is there's people out there who really do have tangible, huge change they want to make who don't have the guts to run for office. For a lot of people, particularly people a bit more senior in their years. There's skeletons that can come out of the closet. Yeah. And there's a lot of people that don't get involved in that civic privilege of running for office because they're worried about how it will affect their families and everything else. So take this with the love I mean it with, but for someone who didn't have a sort of a passionate civic platform, good on you for going for it.
Well, thank you.
Because a lot of people wouldn't who want to build 10 hospitals and everything else and change the city.
Well, I mean, honestly, that's the real thing that I was, proud. I mean, definitely at the time, there's a lot of things I would have done differently in hindsight because I'd never done anything like that before. But the one thing that I'm proud of coming from that is when I ran, there were 3 people running. 3. And 2 of them had been running for a year, and they were both already on city council. The next election, the most recent one, I think it was like 14 people ran. And that's the thing that I'm most proud of. A lot of people just didn't know you could run if you want to make a difference. You can just go put your name in. Like when I showed up to put the papers in the city hall office, it was 2 people sitting in this gigantic room waiting for candidates to come in and sign up. I'm like, nobody's here? Like I was the only person who came in all day? That's crazy. So I think last election was the most candidates in a long time.
Yeah.
And I'd like to pretend that I had something to do with that because people saw me and they said,
Well, you probably did.
oh, yeah. I mean, I would
Yeah,
hope.
yeah.
And they said they can run, which is good. I think you should have as many people who want to make a difference as possible step up to the plate, you know? I mean, obviously this year it went to the one who spent the most money, which is, he's actually a nice guy. But no, that it just so happens that he did
None of
spend
us,
the money.
we didn't even have to have a vote, in my opinion. Nobody was left wondering what the result would have been.
No, it was the biggest money. I mean, he's probably he just started, so he probably do a great job. But
Yeah.
I guess we'll see. I don't know anything.
I think they're a year now. They just put the councillors back in last week at the ceremony, so I think he's about a year at the
Yeah.
moment. But
Okay. Yeah,
no, good on you, and that's a
Yeah.
good thing. You know, it's something I would never do. Alec, would you run?
Maybe someday. Who knows?
You should.
We'll see. Here's what we'll do. We'll let you do a quick plug because you do own a media company.
Yes,
right?
yes,
Give us a
yes.
quick plug on that and tell us what you do with that, and that's how we'll wrap it up.
Okay, right now I've started a company called Stenvar with 3 of my associates. We'd all been working in the kind of marketing writing space for a while. They said, we love hanging out with each other. Let's just do this together. We do so many projects on the side together anyway. Let's just make it a thing. So we started working together. We're doing that. A lot of guerrilla marketing if you want something interesting,
Ooh.
which has been a lot of fun. For example, the Splash Effects billboard that I told you about.
Yes.
That was really cool.
Yeah, very cool.
So if you're needing anything like that, anything interesting, a little bit more outside the box, please, I'm in contact Stenvar.
Yeah. There's another company out there I like to use, but I'll
Oh, oh my God.
I'm just kidding.
My enemies.
I'm just kidding. Well, yeah, that's a good way to wrap it up then. Good little plug.
We need to do the handles too.
Oh, yes.
Where can we find you online?
Tags. Yeah.
Max Emerson Taylor, at Max Emerson Taylor, for the business, at Stenvar Creative. Yeah, and those 2 should really get you everything you need to
Perfect.
have a good night. What was Spider-Man like?
Spider-Man was great. Spider-Man was one of our best guests. And you're up there too, man. You were a great guest. Great to have you on.
Fucking sick, man.
I
Thank
appreciate
bro.
you coming in. Last
real.
minute kind of deal.
I don't do too old to do handshakes like that. But
What?
I'm too old to do cool
I've
handshakes
never done
like
that with you. I've only just
I'm not
firmly
good
shaken
at that.
your
Yeah,
hand.
I just got the
Crush it.
boring business handshake.
Firmly
but-
grasp it.
No, this was great. I think
yeah.
this could have continued for hours. We
Yeah.
love these kind of interviews. So thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
man.
thanks,
I
man.
appreciate it.
Thank you once again for tuning in to the Matter of Facts podcast.
But you can get more of us. You can subscribe on any good podcast provider. You can follow us on Instagram at Matter of Facts Podcast. And for all that great feedback and abuse, you can send it by email to halifaxpodcast@gmail.com.
And of course, you can always find James Collins and I on the internet.
Please do get in touch, and we look forward to seeing you next time.